Hey there, this is Pastor Eddie, and I'd like to continue reading a chapter from my dad's book, Before Aspirin and Other Things. We're on the chapter today titled The Turkey Secret. I think you will enjoy this. Long before the emergence of Technicolor movies, an uncle of mine was a country doctor. He was indeed a compassionate fellow and felt such a deep humane responsibility for poor families that he would set them up in business raising turkeys on a share basis. He, of course, would assume the expense of furnishing the turkey chicks along with feed, shelter, and fence. When the turkeys were grown and sold, he in turn would receive half the proceeds. One particular household who took him up on his offer was a man, his wife, a dirt yard full of barefoot children, and an old blind grandma who sat in a rocking chair by the fireplace puffing on a corncob pipe day in and day out. Eventually, when the turkeys should have grown enough to have commercial value, the doctor called upon the family to inspect the flock. But, alas, there were no fowl to survey and no money and no explanation to what had happened. Later, it was learned that the temptation was simply too great and the poor folks had eaten the birds. Such behavior, understandable, didn't set too well with my uncle. In time, he dropped in on the man to discuss the matter. They all sat around the fireplace, the husband, wife, barefoot children, and blind grandma smoking her pipe. "Tell me what happened to the turkeys," the doctor asked. There was utter stillness for some overly long moments, but my uncle probed further. "Did you sell them? Did someone steal them?" For about 5 minutes, the whole family said nothing, but looked sheepishly at the floor, biting and pursing their lips. Grandma rocked, puffed, and blew smoke. The hush remained unbroken for several more minutes. In effect, it had been quiet for so long that blind grandma assumed my uncle had left. So she took the pipe out of her mouth and drawled, "Is he gone? Why didn't you just tell him the turkeys died with the sore head? He wouldn't known the difference no way." One might imagine the old lady's consternation when she suddenly realized the doctor was still there. Fortunately for them, though, the good physician had a forgiving heart, a sense of humor, and continued to help this wondrously penitent family. This story, in truth, has much to do with a little red Bible verse that warns, and I quote, "Curse not the king, no, not in thought, and curse not the rich man in thy bedchamber, for a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter." That is found in Ecclesiastes 10, verse 20. In other words, bad secrets are also impossible to keep. On a higher plane, however, no one can keep a secret from God. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men, found in Psalm 11:43. And Jesus himself apprises all people that before God nothing is secret that shall not be known, neither anything hidden that shall not be known and come to light, found in Luke 8:17. This should be sobering information for all humankind, under the realization that God knows everything. One day, the apostle admonishes, God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ. Confession is always good for the soul, so make known your secrets to God daily, remembering all can have an advocate with God in Jesus Christ, the righteous, who speaks for his subjects day and night. So keep him working on your behalf, and he will keep turkey secrets out of your closet. Dun, 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 dun. I love that story of Dad's about turkeys and secrets in the old days. And I'm going to take a moment here in our reading of these devotionals to tell you a secret of mine. And this is one I don't share much about because it's a little bit embarrassing. But after I read this story, it reminded me of in my teenage years how a friend of mine and myself would go out in the evening hours on some of the lakes down in South Central Florida, and we would go frog gigging. I know that not everybody would enjoy that sport, but I remember one particular event. We had a canoe, and I was sitting on the front of the canoe, so I got the long gigs in my hands and went up to the front of the canoe. My friend's in the back, and he's on the shore, and he pushes us off, and his feet touch the edge of the water and shoots us at least 20 to 30 feet way out into the lake that we were going to go to the other side on the swamp and look for those little froggies. As we came to a stop, I remember sitting there at the front, ready to go with the gigs in my hands, and my friend behind me saying, "Did you bring the paddles?" That caught us off guard. We did not have paddles. We were in the dead still of the middle of a lake. No way to get back. Thank goodness, thank the good Lord, the gigs were long enough for us to push down and find the bottom and push ourselves back to shore. Now that's a secret I don't tell everyone just because it's a little bit embarrassing. We probably all have secrets in our lives, but I love Dad's way of sharing with us that confession is good for the soul. So I reiterate, if there is something you need to confess to the Lord, I encourage you to do it, and you will find His forgiveness and grace is absolutely amazing. Take care. Blessings.